Hello, hello. I am Sinner, and today I am reviewing Posterior Analytics. This book is a continuation of Prior Analytics. Prior Analytics is a book that explains how syllogistic logic works, how to construct a syllogism, and how not to construct a syllogism. It focuses on mainly the errors around how not to make a syllogism, which makes it a very boring book because you're just learning what not to do 1,000 times over. But posterior analytics continues on that, continues on issues regarding logic, correct belief, so on and so forth, and then transitions into arguments about epistemology and basically acts as a position affirming foundationalism and the limits of logical argumentation and how you can't always kind of use logic to justify logic, right? Because that ends up being kind of circular. Um, and this, I think, it's a better book in a lot of ways. It's objectively a much more interesting book to read because unlike the previous book, it actually has things to say, right? It actually isn't just someone talking about syllogisms for, a gajillion pages, which gets very boring. Um, that being said, it was still a very boring book. And again, it's actually a very small book once you actually finish it. The I didn't read the commentary, even though I probably should, but to sort of give you an idea of what I mean, like this document is quite large, right? But this much is the actual book, and all of this, is commentary. So excuse the bad hairdo, but um, it's not a lot to get through. Um, I think the shortest book is that Aristotle's ever made is Categories, which I will read. And I believe once I've read the Categories, De Anima, and Rhetoric, I think that's it. I think there's the Poetics as well, but I've basically read all of Aristotle. I'm getting to the point where I'm basically done with Aristotle, and I don't have to read him ever again. Um, I think this book is more of an important read than prior analytics. If I will say this for both prior analytics and posterior analytics, and even to an extent, most of Aristotle is I actually wouldn't recommend reading Aristotle. Um, I would probably recommend you to rather watch a professor give a lecture series on Aristotle's philosophy because it will cut through a lot of the gunk, the repetition, the unnecessary stuff, and help you just focus on the core ideas, which is what you really need to look at. Because especially with the philosophy of foundationalism in terms of epistemology, it's kind of moved on from Aristotelian foundationalism. I think the main form of foundationalism today is Cartesian, René Descartes, Cartesian style foundationalism. Um, that being said, it's a decent book. I'm happy I read it. Um, one thing that did surprise me about both of these books is the 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 how do I put it? The lack of transferable knowledge that I thought I would get. I thought that, syllogistic logic would be a lot more applicable, and it is, but you know, the gap between that and formal logic is a lot larger than I initially realized. So that's going to be a challenge moving forward to, get through all of that. But yeah, um, that's all I really have to say. I am Sinner. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.